Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. We are picking it up with Elijah on Mount Carmel, and you know that they've had this big contest to see whether Baal or whether the Lord is actually God. And Baal was silent, no answer. Baal's dead. But the Lord, he responded to Elijah's prayer with fire and sent down fire and consumed the sacrifice on the altar. And everyone was confessing that the Lord, he is the one who is God. And that's where we pick it up. They've just put the prophets of Baal to death. And we are at 1 Kings chapter 18 and picking it up at verse 41. 1 Kings 18:41. And Elijah said to Ahab, Ahab was the king, Elijah said to Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, for there is the sound of heavy rain." So Ahab went off to eat and drink, but Elijah climbed to the top of Carmel, bent down to the ground, and put his face between his knees. "Go and look toward the sea," he told his servant, and he went up and looked. "There is nothing there," he said. 7 times Elijah said, "Go back." The 7th time the servant reported, "A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea." So Elijah said, "Go and tell Ahab, hitch up your chariot and go down before the rain stops you." Meanwhile, the sky grew black with clouds, the wind rose, a heavy rain came on, and Ahab rode off to Jezreel. The power of the Lord came on Elijah, and tucking his cloak into his belt, he ran ahead of Ahab all the way to Jezreel. So there's a few things I want us to kind of look at here. Maybe the first, we need to map out the geography. So Mount Carmel is probably about 5 miles from off the coast of the Mediterranean. And so from Mount Carmel, you could see the Mediterranean Sea. Maybe we would think of it if you were on top of Mount Helix, or maybe you'd be able to see out to the ocean. So it's only about 5 miles. I know Mount Helix is more inland than that, but about 5 miles from the coast. And so from the top of Mount Carmel, you could see out to the Mediterranean Sea. Jezreel, where they end up going, that's about 25 miles from Mount Carmel. And so that would be 25 miles kind of southeast. And so they have the contest, and the Lord obviously wins. And you may need to remember way back at chapter 17, the very beginning, Elijah had told King Ahab that there wasn't going to be dew or rain except at the word of the Lord through Elijah. And so we've had 3 years plus of no rain, drought. And so the contest is settled. The people declare that the Lord, he is God. They're done with Baal worship, and now it's time for rain. And so Elijah says to King Ahab, "Go up, eat, drink, celebrate. There's going to be rain." And it's interesting, Ahab never actually repents. He never actually confesses that he was wrong. He's really kind of rather passive in this whole thing. The people are declaring that the Lord is God. Ahab, we don't hear him say anything. And Elijah tells him to go up and eat and drink, that he hears the sound of heavy rain coming. Now, next thing we see happen is Elijah goes to prayer. And he goes up higher on the mountain, and his servant is with him. And Elijah bows down, his head is between his knees. And so I assume that that's showing, well, some say maybe he's just exhausted, but others would say it's a sign of kind of deep humility before the Lord, kind of bowing down. And how low is he bowing? All the way to where it's like his head is down between his knees, as he's bowed down, kind of facing the ground. And he tells his servant to go and look towards the coast, towards the west, to see if he sees anything. 7 times, nothing. Well, take that back. The 7th time, he sees a cloud that's about the size of a man's hand. And that's all the sign that Elijah needed. He knew the Lord had heard his prayer. He knew that rain was coming. He tells him, go tell Ahab he better hitch up his chariot and get moving, that the storm is coming. And so Ahab does, and then Elijah, in the power of the Lord, outruns Ahab in his chariot all the way to Jezreel. Again, about 25 miles. And why Jezreel? Well, maybe that's because that's where Jezebel was at. And Ahab was going to go report to Jezebel what happened, which is what we see happens in the next chapter. Okay, here's the thing for today. I know we've covered geography, we've kind of walked through it a moment, but here's the thing. The Lord gave Elijah a cloud the size of a man's hand. Didn't look like a big storm was coming. But that's all the sign that Elijah needed to know that his prayer had been heard and that the Lord was going to bless the land with rain and that the drought was over. Just a cloud, looking at it, the size of a man's hand. It's far off on the horizon. But Elijah knows, far off on the horizon as it is, small as it is, it's the sign he needed to know that the Lord heard his prayer and the Lord was sending rain. Now, I don't know what you're praying for. I don't know what you're crying out to the Lord for, wherever you're scattered today. But my prayer for you is that the Lord would give you the sign that you need out there on the horizon, that the Lord has heard your prayer. And so that you can act with confidence and live with confidence that the Lord heard my prayer, the Lord is going to send rain, the Lord is going to bring salvation, whatever that might look like. My prayer for you is that the Lord will give you that sign and we'll be able to recognize the sign just like Elijah was able to recognize it. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be close. It's out there on the horizon. It is as small as a man's hand. And yet Elijah knew the Lord heard. That's all the sign he needed. My prayer is that we'll see such signs and know that the Lord has heard our prayers. So wherever you find yourself scattered today, trust the Lord, pray to the Lord, and have your eyes open. And you don't need a big sign. You just need a cloud the size of a man's hand, out there on the horizon. And you'll know that the Lord has heard and the Lord is bringing salvation. Well, God bless. Have a great day. And pray and see that sign. Maybe I should say, may God give you that sign.